The college entrance examination physical required a fasting blood draw, but the class beauty felt sorry for the boys being hungry and secretly handed out full sugar milk tea and cream cakes. With red eyes, she said, "Boys burn a lot of energy, what's wrong with eating something sweet? Just don't tell the doctor, and they won't find out." In my previous life, I reminded my childhood friend not to eat it, and he cursed me for being heartless. To avenge the class beauty, during the urine test he poured white sugar into my urine cup and then turned around and accused me of staging it all myself. I missed the military academy early admission batch because of my follow-up medical exam, yet he took his normal report and went off hand in hand with the class beauty to celebrate. Having lived this life over again, I watched him finish the entire cup of milk tea, and only saved the reminder screenshot to my photo album. Half a month later, the report was issued. Several boys who applied to the Public Security Academy, Military Academy, and Flight Technology program were all marked as abnormal. On the day the early admission system closed, my childhood friend came crying to beg me to delete the video. Boys can get hypoglycemia if they skip breakfast in the morning. Your baby brought you milk tea. Lee Won pushed 2 boxes of milk tea onto the podium, then lifted out a box of cake. As soon as the homeroom teacher left, the classroom immediately exploded. "Damn, Won, you really get us. The physical exam requires fasting blood work. I'm so hungry I could gnaw on the desk." The class beauty is still the one who cares about the boys. The girls only ever talk about rules. The medical examination notice in my hand was crumpled, leaving creases. For the college entrance examination physical, the first item in the morning was fasting blood draw. On the notice, the bold text read, "Do not eat for 8 to 12 hours before blood draw, and avoid sugary drinks and high-fat foods to prevent affecting the results." Yet Lee Won inserted the straws one by one and handed the drinks to the boys. She curved her eyes and said, "Boys burn a lot of energy, eat something sweet to make up for it." A girl frowned and reminded her, "The doctor said he can't eat anything, it'll affect his blood sugar and urine test." Lee Won immediately pouted, "You girls really know how to spoil the mood." She shoved a full sugar milk tea into Pei Jingxing's hand. "Pei Jingxing, you were doing practice questions until 1 a.m. last night. Hurry up and drink it, or if you faint later, who's going to take responsibility?" Pei Jingxing took the milk tea, his face full of contentment. He turned to glance at me. "Wen Suiyan, don't start trying to control me again." I lifted my eyelids and pressed the recording button on my phone with my fingertip. It was also this day in my previous life. I stopped Pei Jingxing and said that milk tea would affect the medical exam results. He shook off my hand in front of the whole class. "Wen Suiyan, can't you stop being so cold-blooded? Aren't you even a little heartbroken that the boys have gone hungry all morning?" I still wasn't at ease, so while accompanying him in line, I reminded him once more. He thought I was embarrassingly Won during the urine test. While I turned around, he poured half a bag of white sugar into my urine cup. When I found out and confronted him, he said in front of the teacher, "Who knows whether you poured it yourself? Aren't you just trying to frame Won?" Lee Won covered her mouth and cried, "I only brought everyone some food. Why would Wen Suiyan slander me like this?" In the end, my urine glucose was abnormal, and I was required to undergo a retest. The retest was arranged before the college application submission period, and I missed the confirmation for the Military Academy's early admission batch. I lost my eligibility for the National University of Defense Technology's Information Engineering program that I had wanted to apply for. Pei Jingxing, however, took the normal report and went to thank Lee Won. He said, "Won just feels sorry for me. You insist on thinking she's so bad." Later, I repeated a year of school, and my family spent an extra 80,000 yuan on me. My parents' hair turned noticeably grayer, and Pei Jingxing went to the Public Security University. He posted a group photo on his Moments, with Lee Won standing beside him. The caption read, "Thank you to the person who accompanied me for breakfast back then." I stared at that line of text and didn't close my eyes all night. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the morning of the physical exam day. Lee Won was handing a high-sugar milk tea to Pei Jingxing. In this life, I kept my mouth shut, seeing that I didn't say anything. Pei Jingxing actually wasn't used to it. "Wen Suiyan, why aren't you lecturing anyone today?" I opened the class group chat and typed a line. "For the college entrance examination physical, you must fast before the blood draw. Do not eat or drink sugary foods before the blood test. Students applying for the early admission batch for public security, military academies, flight technology, etc., will bear the consequences themselves." 3 seconds after the message was sent, Lee Won burst out laughing. She held up her phone and read aloud, Oh, look, when Swayan is playing doctor again, the boys joined in the jeering. Is she just jealous that Wan is nice to us? Empty stomach, empty stomach, empty your damn mother. Will drinking a cup of milk tea kill you? The doctor isn't going to keep staring at my stomach. How easy would the data be to change? Pei Jingxing replied in the group chat. Don't try to scare people with rules. Nobody asked you to manage this. I took a screenshot, saved it, and sent it to my alternate account. Li Wanwan walked up to my desk holding a cake. When Suayan, do you want a piece? Don't say this baby only favors boys. I closed the notice form. I'll eat after I'm done drawing blood. Her expression stiffened, and she took the cake back. Why are you pretending? Everyone knows you want to apply to a military academy, acting like you're so disciplined. Pei Jingxing bit on his straw and frowned at me. Could you stop putting on airs all day long? Wan kindly bought something for you. Who are you showing that attitude to? I put the medical examination form into the document folder. I didn't stop you from drinking. Pei Jingxing froze, as if choked. He took another big gulp of milk tea. Fine, you'd better keep out of my business forever. I turned on the camera and took a picture of the milk tea in his hand. Pei Jingxing's expression darkened. What are you taking a picture of? I turned off the screen, keeping a souvenir. The health check van hadn't arrived yet, and Li Wanwan had already started the second round of distributing candy. She took the chocolate out of her backpack and specifically handed it to the boy. You're going to have to take off your shoes and get your height measured later, so don't end up fainting from low blood sugar and falling. One boy hesitated. We really can't eat it, right? My dad specifically told me last night. Li Wanwan immediately pulled the chocolate back. Then forget it, don't eat it. Anyway, I only feel sorry for the people who trust me. The boy's face flushed red, and he hurriedly snatched it back and tore it open. Eat, 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 I trust you. Only then was Li Wanwan satisfied. She turned to glance at the girls. Don't be jealous. I bought them for the boys because they have faster metabolisms. Tang Ziyi rolled her eyes. Why not just say you're catering to men? Li Wanwan's eyes reddened, and her fingers clutched the milk tea bag. I was just afraid the boys would go hungry. How can you insult me like that? The boys immediately crowded around. Tang Ziyi, watch your mouth. Wanwan spent money to treat us. What are you being sour about here? A girl doesn't buy it herself, and she won't even let others buy it. Tang Ziyi stood up in anger. The college entrance examination physical is not something to joke about. Pei Jingxing slammed the table. Enough. He stood in front of Li Wanwan and shouted at Tang Ziyi. They meant well, and you turn it into this. Don't you feel disgusting? I looked at his back as he shielded Li Wanwan in front of him, and suddenly found it ridiculous. He was the same in my previous life. Whenever Li Wanwan's eyes turned red, he felt like the whole world had bullied her. I lowered my head and kept taking screenshots. Dozens of messages had already been flooded into the chat group. Thanks for the soft feed. Only after drinking milk tea do I have the strength to draw blood. When Swayan, stop pretending to be an expert. So annoying. I saved every single one. In my last life, I had no evidence. Pei Jingxing poured white sugar into my urine cup, then accused me of stealing and eating the sugar myself. Li Wanwan covered her mouth and said, did Wen Swayan sabotage the data herself just to frame Pei Jingxing? The teacher only said, stop making a scene, let's do a recheck first. As a result, I ended up running to the hospital bearing the stain, while Pei Jingxing walked away unscathed. In this life, I won't let anyone pin the blame on me again. When homeroom teacher Ms. Zhou came in, Li Wannan was still helping Pei Jingxing unwrap the cake fork. Ms. Zhou's expression changed right then and there. Who told you to eat? Li Wanwan's hand slipped, and the cake frosting smeared onto Pei Jingxing's cuff. She immediately said aggrievedly, teacher, the boys said they were hungry. I was afraid they wouldn't be able to hold out. Teacher Zhou slapped the physical examination notice onto the lectern. The notice was written very clearly, no eating before the blood draw. Can't you understand that? Li Wanwan lowered her head and wiped the corners of her eyes. But they're all 18 or 19-year-old boys with big appetites. It's really hard for them to go all morning without eating. Several boys immediately chimed in to support her. Teacher, it's just a few sips of milk tea. It's not that serious, is it? We ate breakfast before our physical exams before too, and nothing happened. Wanwan is just worried about us too. Please don't be mean to her. Teacher Zhou pointed at them angrily. If your blood sugar, urine sugar, or blood lipids are abnormal, it will be noted on the medical examination form. Some early admission programs are very strict, and if you have to go for a recheck later, it'll be too late. Don't come crying back. She named them one by one. flight technology, military academies, public security, maritime programs, and some medical majors all require medical examination results. The classroom fell silent for a moment. Pei Jingxing's hand tightened around the cup of milk tea he had wanted since childhood to apply to the criminal investigation major at the public security university. If he failed the physical exam, his early admission options would be in jeopardy. Li Ruanruan immediately spoke up. Teacher, it's not that serious, is it? She took out her phone and waved it. I checked. Eating a little doesn't affect it much, and the doctor will make a comprehensive judgment. I looked up. Did you check a regular physical exam? Or the college entrance examination physical? Li Ruanruan bit her lip. Wen Suian, why are you targeting me? Pei Jingxing immediately turned to look at me. You're at it again. The teacher already said we're responsible for ourselves. I lit up my phone and sent Teacher Zhou a screenshot of the reminder in the group chat. Teacher, I've already warned them. They'll bear the consequences themselves. Teacher Zhou glanced over, his expression growing even uglier. Anyone who has already eaten or drunk anything should proactively tell the doctor later. Li Ruanruan panicked. Teacher, isn't this just harming them? I replied. If you don't explain it, then the data anomaly is deceiving the doctor. The boy's gazes immediately shot toward me. Pei Jingxing lowered his voice. Wen Suian, do you have to take things this far? I put my phone back in my pocket. You just said no one asked me to take charge. His lips moved, but he said nothing more. By the time the teacher from the medical examination center came to hurry them along, the boy had already finished half a box of cake. Li Ruanruan was even using wet wipes to clean their hands. Don't let the doctor notice. Wipe the corners of your mouth clean. Teacher Zhou heard it, and his face darkened. Li Ruanruan, do you think this is cheating? Li Ruanruan shrank her neck back, but she still wasn't convinced. I just don't want the doctors to misunderstand them. I carried the file bag and followed behind the girls' group. Tang Ziyi leaned over and said softly, you made it plenty clear just now. I didn't turn around. Keeping evidence is more useful than arguing. She froze for a moment. Did you already know something was going to happen? I flipped the medical examination form to the page with the instructions. The notice said it. I didn't need to know in advance. When we got to the medical examination center, there was a long line in front of the blood draw window. The boys started to panic. Someone rubbed his stomach. Why am I feeling a little acid reflux? Someone licked his lips. I just finished a milk tea, and my mouth is full of sweetness. Li Ruanruan immediately lowered her voice. Don't scare yourself. Drawing a tube of blood isn't the same as testing bubble tea. Pei Jingxing stood next to her, but kept looking over at me. I ignored him and turned to another window. Last night, I called the health check center. I explained that I wanted to apply for the military academy early admissions batch and asked whether I could go to a separate window for blood draw ahead of time. The staff told me to bring my ID and school certificate to register first. As soon as I arrived today, I handed over the certificate signed by Teacher Zhou. After the nurse checked the information, she called my name directly. Wen Suian, applicants for military and police-related programs, come forward for blood draw first. Pei Jingxing heard this and immediately walked over. When did you arrange that? I rolled up my sleeves. Last night. He stared at me. Why didn't you tell me? I looked up. You told me to shut up in the group chat last night. His face darkened. I said that in anger. I took it seriously. The nurse glanced at us. Quiet. Hold out your arm. After the blood draw, I sat off to the side, pressing a cotton swab against the puncture site. Pei Jingxing was still standing where he was, his face beginning to turn pale. Li Ruanruan walked over and tugged at his sleeve. Pei Jingxing, don't listen to her scare you. Your health has always been good. Pei Jingxing did not shake her off, but he also did not smile again. Teacher Zhou took the boys who had eaten to register. She asked them to note in the remarks column, consumed milk tea and cake before the blood draw. Li Ruanruan exploded the moment she heard that. Teacher, if you write it down, won't that be the end of them? Teacher Zhou pressed the pen down on the desk. If I write it now, it means the doctor made the judgment. If I don't, then you're the ones forging it yourselves. The boys looked at each other. Someone pushed the pen back and said, I'm not writing either. What if writing it means getting judged as abnormal right away? The doctor didn't see it with his own eyes. Why should I expose myself? Teacher Zhou's hands trembled with anger. Your future isn't something you can secure by hiding things. Pei Jingxing gritted his teeth, but in the end he still didn't write it. He handed the registration form back, his voice stiff. I didn't eat much. It won't affect me. I didn't take a photo of the blood draw window, nor did I photograph any private medical exam information. I only recorded the scene in the public area where they refused to register. Lee Won-won noticed I was taking pictures and rushed over to snatch my phone. When Sueon, are you crazy? I took a step back. This is a public place. Touch me and see what happens. She started crying again. Do you really want to destroy them like this? They're just hungry. Tang Ziyi stepped in front of me. No one held a knife to their throats and forced them to drink milk tea. They chose it themselves. The boys immediately started cursing. Tang Ziyi, your mouth is really vicious. When Sueon is the mastermind behind this, right? You two are singing a duet. Wan Ruan's kindness is being trampled on by you, and you'll get your comeuppance sooner or later. I raised my phone to my chest. Say one more word, and I'll record that too. They fell silent. Pei Jingxing stared at me, his eyes full of resentment. When Sueon, how did I never realize before that you were this ruthless? I turned off the recording. You never gave me a chance to discover you were this stupid. Before the blood draw, the line got stuck. The nurse came out and announced, the students who just registered their food intake, please go confirm it with the doctor first. Teacher Zhou immediately called the roll, but no one moved. Li Wanwan reminded them softly, don't go. If you go, it'll leave a record. Her voice wasn't loud, but all the boys nearby heard it. Teacher Zhou turned around sharply. Li Wanwan, you still dare to stir things up? Li Wanwan immediately hid behind Pei Jingxing. Teacher, I didn't, I'm just afraid they'll be treated differently. Pei Jingxing said stiffly. Teacher, we're really fine. Teacher Zhou opened the phone. I've already sent the screenshot of the class group chat to the grade level director. Whether you ate or not, the school has a record. At this point, the boys' faces all changed. Someone shouted at me. When Sueon, was it you who sent it? I shook my phone. I only sent a screenshot of my own reminder. You set us up. Are you crazy? We were classmates. Did you really have to leave evidence? Damn it, if the physical exam turns up a problem, I won't let you off. Tang Ziyi rolled up her sleeves. Try touching her if you dare. Teacher Zhou called over the security guards from the medical examination center, and only then did the boys disperse. But Li Wanwan suddenly clutched her chest and crouched down. Stop arguing, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have cared about you all. As soon as she started crying, several of the boys softened again. Wanwan, don't be like this. We're not blaming you. It was already just when Sueon making a big deal out of nothing. We'll draw blood. Once it's done, we'll know there's nothing wrong. Pei Jingxing also crouched down and handed her some tissues. Don't cry. I believe you. I stood beside them, watching him block off the last escape route. The nurse called their class number. Class 2, grade 12 of Quankai High School. Boys line up. Pei Jingxing stood up and paused as he passed by me. When Sueon, if my report is normal, you must apologize to Wanwan. I lifted my eyelids. What if it isn't normal? He froze. Li Wanwan immediately cut in. It won't be abnormal. She took the remaining cake out of the bag again. After the blood draw, you have to wait for a urine test. Have some first, or you'll just get even hungrier later. Teacher Zhou almost rushed over to snatch it away. Li Wanwan, the blood draw hasn't even started yet. Li Wanwan held up the cake, her eyes red. They've already drunk milk tea, so what's the difference if I take one more bite? She shoved the cake into Pei Jingxing's hands, her voice choked with tears. If you don't eat it, that means you also think I'm trying to harm you. Pei Jingxing gripped the fork, the tendons on the back of his hand taut. The boys around them were all staring at him. Someone heckled, Jingxing, eat it, stand up. For Wanwan, yes, don't let Wen Sueon make a joke of us. Pei Jingxing looked at me, as if trying to find an escape route on my face. I took out my phone and started recording, aiming it at the public area. Li Wanwan cried as she urged, Pei Jingxing, don't you believe me too? Pei Jingxing clenched his teeth and dug out a large chunk of cake, stuffing it into his mouth. The other boys immediately followed suit and tore open the wrappers. Cream, chocolate, and milk tea all ended up in their mouths. A nurse poked her head out from the window, and her expression changed on the spot. What are you doing? Who told you to eat before the blood draw? She directly took away their medical examination forms. Anyone who has eaten, don't draw their blood. Go register with the chief examining doctor first. The cake box in Li Wanwan's hand fell to the ground with a slap. The chief examining physician finished reviewing the registration form and looked at Teacher Zhou again. These students ate before their blood was drawn. This must be noted. Otherwise the results will have no reference value. The boys instantly grew anxious. Doctor, we only took a couple of bites. Yeah, bubble tea doesn't count as a meal, right? Can you pretend you didn't see that? We need to apply in the early admission round. The doctor set the pen down on the desk. This is a college entrance exam physical, not a school sports meet. Pei Jingxing's face turned pale. Doctor, if I'm applying to the public security university, does an abnormal physical exam mean I can't apply? The doctor glanced at him. It depends on the specific requirements of the school, but abnormal blood sugar, urine sugar, or blood lipids, or remarks in the report that affect interpretation, could all affect the preliminary review for early admissions, he added. For public security, military academies, and aviation technology, the screening is even stricter. The boys immediately erupted. Li Wanwan, didn't you say it was fine? Didn't you just say the doctors couldn't find anything? My dad told me not to eat it, and I fucking believed you. Li Wanwan kept backing away as tears fell down her face. I didn't know it would turn out like this. I was only doing it for your own good. Tang Ziyi let out a cold snort. For their own good, so you told them to hide it from the doctor. Li Wanwan pointed at her. Shut up. She then turned to the doctor, her tone softening. Doctor, they're all seniors in high school. Can't you make an exception just this once? The doctor immediately pressed the bell to call the staff, register the names of the students who ate separately. The blood test results should still be issued as usual, but a note must be added. Pei Jingxing gripped the edge of the table anxiously. Then can we have it drawn again in the afternoon? The doctor shook his head. The college entrance examination physical follows a standardized procedure. Any re-examination has to wait for the school's notice, Teacher Zhou immediately asked. When will the re-examination probably be? The staff member checked the system. If the data is abnormal, the earliest a unified arrangement can be made is 10 days later. If it coincides with the early submission of materials, it might be too late. Those words landed like a heavy blow, and the boys all fell silent. The early submission of materials is in just 1 week. Pei Jingxing's hand slipped from the edge of the table. Li Wanwan was still crying. There won't be any abnormalities. Your bodies are all in good health, so there definitely won't be. I pressed the cotton swab down and stood up, preparing to move on to the next item. Pei Jingxing suddenly called out to me. Wen Suiyan, you knew this would happen all along. Why didn't you stop me? I stopped in my tracks and opened my phone's photo album. First, I sent the reminder in the class group chat. I opened the screenshot. Second, the teacher reminded you. But you didn't listen. I opened the recording again. Third, Li Wanwan forced you to eat the cake. You opened your own mouth. Pei Jingxing stared at the screen, his lips trembling. Li Wanwan lunged over, trying to grab the phone. Delete it. Wen Suiyan, delete it. Tang Ziyi seized her wrist. What are you rushing for? Didn't you say this was for the boys' own good? Li Wanwan struggled. She took secret photos of me. She broke the law. I opened the cloud backup. The video only recorded the public area, not any private parts of the checkup. Don't worry. It won't be deleted cleanly. Teacher Zhou took my phone and, after watching the video, his face darkened to the extreme. This clip will only be used as material for the school's internal investigation and will not be circulated. She looked at Li Wanwan. After the physical examination is over, come with me to the academic affairs office. Li Wanwan shook her head vigorously. Teacher, I didn't do anything wrong. I just brought food. Teacher Zhou pointed to the note on the doctor's desk. You were wrong to incite your classmates to conceal it even though you knew the rules. Pei Jingxing finally turned to look at her. Did you know from the very beginning that it couldn't be eaten? Li Wanwan's crying stopped. She immediately shook her head. I don't know. I really don't know. I slid open another screenshot. It was the notice the school doctor had posted in the grade-wide group chat last night. Li Wanwan replied with an emoji in the group chat. Got it, I'll remind everyone. About fasting before the blood draw, I handed the phone to Pei Jingxing. She knows. Pei Jingxing reached out to take it, but his fingertips were shaking so badly he couldn't even open the image. Li Wanwan screamed. Wen Suiyan, why did you save this? I said, because in my previous life, no one believed me. The people around us didn't understand what that meant. I didn't explain either, the doctor urged. Are you still going to take the test? If not, I'll write down refusal to be examined. The boys could only line up and hold out their arms. Pei Jingxing sat down in the blood collection chair. When the needle went in, he was still staring at Li Wanwan. Li Wanwan kept her head down, her fingers picking at the hem of her skirt, not daring to look up. When the urine test was being done, Pei Jingxing followed behind me. I stopped at the entrance to the women's restroom and turned around to block him. What are you following me for? His Adam's apple bobbed. I'm afraid you'll start taking random photos again. I laughed out loud. Are you afraid I'll take photos, or are you afraid you'll do something dirty again? His expression changed. Wen Suiyan, what do you mean? I took out a disposable urine cup and tightened my fingers on the lid. In my previous life, he had made his move right here. Just as I placed the urine cup on the counter, he squeezed up from behind as the sugar fell in. He even said, "Don't you love meddling? Let me meddle with you too. In this life, I won't let him touch even an inch of it." Tang Ziyi came out of the stall and, hearing this, immediately stood beside me. "Men, get lost. Are you crouching at the entrance of the women's restroom too?" Pei Jingxing's face turned red. "I didn't go in." Teacher Zhou hurried over and directly called him away. "Pei Jingxing, the boys' urine test is over there. What are you doing with Wen Suiyan?" He lowered his head, his voice hoarse. "I went the wrong way. I handed the urine sample to the nurse and only left after watching the seal be properly affixed." After all the tests were finished, Li Wanwan was taken to the academic affairs office. The boys gathered outside the door, and no one spoke up for her anymore. When Tang Ziyi and I passed by, we heard the voice of the grade director coming from inside. "You received the notice in the group chat, and still sent milk tea and cake to your classmates," Li Wanwan argued tearfully. "I thought it wasn't that serious. Everyone usually eats breakfast and has physical checkups." The grade-level director slapped the desk. "This is the college entrance examination physical. Do you know how many majors look at this?" Li Wanwan started shouting. They wanted to eat it themselves. "It's not like I pried open their mouths." The boys outside all changed color. "You were just saying it was for their own good, and now you're washing your hands of it." Pei Jingxing stood at the very front, clutching the medical checkup receipt in his hand. He didn't curse, just lowered his head and stared at the paper. As I walked past him, he suddenly reached out and blocked my way. "Wen Suiyan, can you hold off on posting the video you recorded?" I raised an eyebrow, afraid of embarrassing yourself. He gritted his teeth. "My parents still don't know." "Then go home and tell them yourself." His voice suddenly dropped. "My mom reported it to the police for me, and started having someone train me physically 6 months in advance. My dad quit smoking to save money and buy me study materials." I didn't respond. He went on, "If I'm ruined, they won't be able to handle it." I raised my hand and pushed his arm away. "Pei Jingxing, in my last life, my parents couldn't stand it either." He froze. "You're talking about your last life again. What's wrong with you exactly?" I stared at him. "Nothing. I just have a good memory." Half a month later, the medical checkup report was issued. When the homeroom teacher brought the report envelope into the classroom, the boys all stood up. Teacher Zhou did not hand them out right away. She first called the roll. "Students who ate before the blood draw, stay until the end." The classroom was so quiet that no one even turned a page. I got the report. Blood sugar normal, urine test normal, blood lipids normal, military academy, public security, and flight technology-related restriction columns, all normal. Tang Ziyi was also fine. She stuffed the report into her backpack and let out a long sigh. On the boys' side, one after another, their expressions started to change. "Fasting blood glucose is 7.4. What is this supposed to mean?" "Urine glucose is suspicious. I don't have diabetes. Triglycerides are a bit high, and the specimen condition is abnormal." Someone rushed straight onto the stage. "Teacher, did something go wrong?" Teacher Zhou held the roster, his voice tight. "You consumed high sugar, high-fat foods before the blood draw, and the report already notes it." Yuanzhou flipped to the specialty restriction column and froze completely. "A re-examination is recommended for majors related to flight technology." Another boy slapped his report down on the table. "The Military Academy Physical Examination Review is pending recheck." Pei Jingxing slowly opened his own report. His hands stopped at the professional restrictions field. I sat in my seat without turning my head. The next second, his chair was kicked over. Li Wanwan flinched at his shout. Her report was also abnormal. She herself drank half a cup of milk tea and also ate 2 pieces of cake, but she didn't apply to a military academy, didn't apply to public security, and only wanted to study at a normal university. The consequence for her was nothing more than the trouble of a re-examination. The boys, however, were different. Yuanzhou applied for aviation technology, and his physical exam had barely scraped by. Now his report had been marked with a note. Liang Su applied for military academy communications, and an abnormal blood sugar level required a re-examination. Pei Jingxing applied to the criminal investigation program at the public security university, but his urine glucose and blood lipids were both marked with asterisks. The early admission system will close next week. The earliest the re-examination notice will come is in 10 days. With this wait, several people's college choices were left hanging. Li Wanwan panicked. "A recheck would be fine, so why is everyone coming at me?" Yuanzhou flung the report onto her desk. I passed the initial screening and the psychological test at the flight academy, and I got stuck here. Liang Su's eyes reddened. My dad served in the army for 20 years, and I just want to get into military academy. Pei Jingxing said nothing, only staring at her. Li Ruanruan was unnerved by his gaze. Pei Jingxing, don't be like this. I didn't know it would be this serious either. Pei Jingxing finally spoke. Did you see the school doctor's notice? She pressed her lips tightly together. So what if I did? I thought it was just a routine reminder. I took the printed screenshots out of my backpack and handed them to Teacher Zhou. Teacher, this is the record of her replying, received, in the group chat. This is the chat log after I reminded her. This is the video link from the checkup center showing her forcing Pei Jingxing to eat cake. Li Ruanruan suddenly stood up. Wen Suian, what are you preparing all this for? Are you just waiting to harm me today? I placed the papers on the podium. I'm waiting for you to stop pushing the blame onto me. After Mr. Zhou finished reading, he notified the grade director immediately. Li Ruanruan rushed up to Pei Jingxing and grabbed his sleeve. Please say something for me. I didn't do it on purpose. Pei Jingxing shook her off. When I told you to eat it, you said that if I didn't eat it, it meant I didn't trust you. She shook her head while crying. I was just acting cute. Don't you boys usually fall for that kind of thing? As soon as she said that, the classroom exploded. So you used acting cute to toy with our futures. Do you fucking think the college entrance examination physical is a dating show? We're trying to comfort you, and you take us for idiots. Li Ruanruan's face turned ashen from being berated. She began bringing up that same old excuse again. I, a girl, spent money buying so many things too. Why didn't you say anything when you were eating them? Yuanzhou rushed over and almost flipped over her table. You spent 300 yuan and shattered my dream of becoming a pilot, and you're the one feeling wronged. Teacher Zhou and a few classmates hurriedly stopped him. The grade-level director arrived quickly. He asked all the affected students to turn in their reports for registration. At the same time, he notified the parents to come to school in the afternoon. When the boys heard the words, parents, their faces fell completely. Pei Jingxing sat back down and ran both hands through his hair. He had finally become afraid. In the afternoon, the parents arrived at the school one after another. The first thing Yuanzhou's father said was, "Who gave my son something to eat?" Li Ruanruan's mother stood in front of her. When children share snacks, you can't blame my daughter for everything, can you? Yuanzhou's father slapped the report down on the table. This is before the college entrance exam physical checkup. It's not a snack break. Liang Su's mother was crying so hard she could barely stand. Our child trained so hard for the physical test that he ended up with fluid buildup in his knee. All for the military academy. Now the early admission slot may be gone, and it's all over because of a snack you mentioned. Li Ruanruan's father bent over to apologize. We'll pay as much as we can. Pei Jingxing's father sat off to one side, his expression unchanged the whole time. Only when Teacher Zhou played the video I had recorded did that change. In the video, Li Ruansoft cried and said, "If you don't eat it, that means you don't trust me." Pei Jingxing shoved the cake into his mouth in front of everyone. Pei Jingxing's father raised his hand and slapped him. It wasn't Li Ruanruan, it was Pei Jingxing. You're 18 now. Just because someone cries twice, you throw your brain away. Pei Jingxing covered his face, and tears fell. His mother was crying too. I told you to go on an empty stomach, and you said all your classmates do the same. Pei Jingxing, how could you be so foolish? Pei Jingxing said hoarsely, Mom, I was wrong. No one paid any attention to his admission of guilt. In the end, the school issued its disciplinary decision. Li Ruanruan received a demerit and was disqualified from the outstanding graduate selection. Her guardians need to cooperate with the affected student to undergo a re-examination and negotiate compensation. The affected boy can apply for an expedited re-examination, but an expedited process does not guarantee making it in time for the early review. Li Ruanruan broke down on the spot. Why should I bear all the blame alone? They ate it themselves. Yuanzhou's father pointed at her. You'll be receiving a lawyer's letter. Liang Su's mother also spoke up. We will sue your family. Li Ruanruan's mother panicked. You can't ruin my daughter. She's a senior in high school too. Pei Jingxing's mother raised her head. Then should my son be ruined by her? No one in the conference room said anything in her defense anymore. Li Ruanruan finally turned her gaze to me. Wen Suiyan, are you satisfied now? I put my own report into the file folder. You're asking the wrong person. I'm not the one who ate it, she screamed. You clearly could have stopped it. I opened the class group chat screenshot. I stopped it, and you all scolded me. She pointed at me. Can you say it any louder? Tang Ziyi laughed in anger. Is she your mom? Does she have to chase after you and feed your brain? Li Ruanan was left speechless. Pei Jingxing suddenly walked up to me. His eyes were filled with red veins. Wen Suiyan, did you know all along that I would be scrapped? I lift my gaze. Are you asking that because you want me to feel guilty? He clenched his fists. You weren't like this before. You used to think of everything for me. I smiled. I used to think things through for you. How did you repay me? His throat tightened. He did not know about what happened in the previous life, but in this life, he had hurt me just as much. He snatched my phone, called me cold-blooded, and helped Li Ruanwan cover my mouth. As long as it didn't fall on him, he would always think the one in pain was someone else. The expedited re-examination notice came down 3 days later. The boys began running to the hospital every day. Some applicants' indicators have returned to normal, but the early batch materials have already entered preliminary review. The remarks are still on record, and the school requires additional explanations. He Yuanzhou's flight technology major application was directly withdrawn. The reason was an abnormal medical examination record, and the re-examination was not completed within the required time limit. Liang Su's military academy application also didn't go through. His mother came to the school and cried for a while, and in the end changed his application to an ordinary undergraduate program. Pei Jingxing had it worst. The public security university required that the original physical examination report show no abnormalities, or that re-examination materials be submitted on time, but by the time his re-examination report came out, the preliminary review for the early admissions round had already ended. His early admissions review status changed from pending recheck to not approved. He didn't come to school that day. That night, he called me more than 20 times. I didn't answer a single one. He switched to sending messages. Wen Suiyan, I'm really done for. My dad wants me to retake the year, and my mom hasn't eaten all day. Can you delete the video? Li Ruanwan's family says that if there's no video, the responsibility can be lighter. I replied with 3 words, can't delete it. He sent another message, do you hate me this much? I pressed down the image of him in my previous life pouring white sugar into my urine cup from my mind. Then I replied, I'm just no longer going to save you. The next day, several parents blocked the entrance of the school at Li Ruanwan's family. Her father publicly apologized, saying that the family had only 60,000 yuan in savings. He Yuanzhou's father produced the list of expenses for flight training, physical examination, travel expenses, accommodation, and training fees totaled 110,000 yuan. Liang Su's mother also took out money for physical training and application materials. Combined, the compensation amount from several families exceeded 300,000. Li Ruanwan's mother collapsed to the ground on the spot. We can't come up with that money, He Yuanzhou's father said coldly, then sue us. See you in court. Li Ruanwan hid behind the crowd, her hair disheveled by her own hands. When she saw me, she suddenly rushed over. Wen Suiyan, go tell them, I really didn't do it on purpose. I stepped back to the side. You didn't ask me when you let them eat it. She was crying so hard she could barely breathe. I just wanted the boys to like me. I didn't mean to ruin them. Heard by He Yuanzhou, he rushed over and shoved her aside. You want to be liked, and trade away our future for it. The security guards rushed over to pull people apart. Li Ruanwan fell to the ground, her school uniform stained with dust. None of the boys who used to revolve around her came to help her up. Pei Jingxing stood on the steps, holding the follow-up examination report in his hand. All the indicators on it were normal, but he was no longer eligible to enter the public security early admission program. He looked at the paper and suddenly let out a laugh. After laughing, he tore the report in half. Li Ruanwan got up and reached out to pull him. Pei Jingxing, help me, they all blame me. Pei Jingxing shook her off, his voice hoarse. Don't touch me. She froze. He said again, I feel sick just seeing you now. The color drained little by little from Li Ruanwan's face. She had finally tasted what it felt like to be pushed away by everyone. After the college entrance exam, there were no issues with either my medical examination or my scores. With a score among the top in the province, I received an admission letter from the National University of Defense Technology. When teacher Zhou called me, her voice was trembling the whole time. Wen Suiyan, you steadied yourself, and you also held on to your own path. I gave a quiet and put the admission letter into my parents' hands. My mom touched the cover, and tears fell onto the acceptance page. My dad turned and went into the kitchen, and it was a long time before he came out. His eyes were red, but he only said, let's add a few more dishes tonight. Pei Jingxing ended up repeating the year. His parents never let him touch the public Security major again, they said he couldn't even refuse a cup of milk tea and didn't deserve to wear that uniform. Li Wanwan was unable to attend university registration as scheduled after several parents filed lawsuits. Her family sold their house to pay the compensation, her parents fought every day, her younger brother transferred schools, and she was pointed at and scolded by relatives. I heard she later went to attend a private junior college on the first day of school, someone posted into the freshman group the video of her handing out milk tea before the physical exam. Back then, she posted an explanation of over 300 words in the group. No one replied to her. Pei Jingxing sent me his last message. If I had listened to you that day, would we still be the same as before? I deleted the chat window. There are no ifs. From the moment he chose to stand by Li Wanwan, from the moment he stepped on me in order to curry favor with others, it was already over between us. In September, I dragged my suitcase into campus. The teacher at the registration desk checked my medical exam form, then glanced at the admission list. When Swayan, Information Engineering, documents complete, I took the campus card and pressed my fingertip over the name on its surface. In this life, no one would ever be able to pour sugar into my cup again. No one could drag my path back into the mud either. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. Wow, you're wearing that color underneath. With a forceful tug, she yanked open my collar, revealing the pink bra strap. The lecture hall, filled with over 200 people, fell silent for a few seconds before erupting into laughter, whistles, and the sound of camera shutters. I froze, my ears ringing as if I had been transported back to the gallows of my previous life. The male teacher on the podium darkened his face and slammed the table. What's all this noise? She, however, pursed her lips and smiled, straightening my collar while patting my shoulder. Don't be angry, we're all girls, just having a bit of fun. The laughter grew even louder, and someone shouted, Bro, you're wearing pink today. My fingers clenched the collar tightly, my back feeling as if someone had poured a bucket of ice water over me, all the humiliation wrapping around me like cement. In my previous life, I was left speechless by the phrase, we're both girls. Everyone thought I was making a big deal out of nothing, saying, is it really that serious? And she continued to unbutton my clothes and pull at my skirt when I least expected it, even going so far as to unzip my skirt right before my graduate school interview. She said, you don't deserve it. Then, with a smile, she added, you're so conservative, no guy would ever like you. Really, I was disqualified for improper conduct. Later, I jumped into the river, and now I watch her malicious hands fall upon me as if hitting rewind. I suddenly grab her wrist, the bones cracking with a snap. She cried out in pain. Ouch, what are you doing? I sneered. You're right, we're both girls, then why don't you take yours off and show everyone? Her face froze, and the surrounding laughter gradually died down. She broke free from my hand and took a step back. Are you crazy? I was just joking. You said it was just a joke earlier. I spoke calmly, so now I'm joking with you. What's the problem? I moved closer to her step by step, my gaze icy. How about you pull your own clothes down a bit too? Fair's fair. Her face turned pale, and she quickly stepped back, bumping into the lectern. I apologize. Okay. Her eyes began to redden. It was just a joke. It's not the first time I've teased you like this. Why are you taking it so seriously today? Slap. I slapped her across the face, and the entire classroom fell so silent that only the sound of breathing remained. She covered her cheek, her eyes filled with disbelief. How dare you hit me? I stared at her coldly, lowering my voice. This is the last time you touch me. Try it again, and see what happens. I scanned the room and raised my voice to everyone. She just pulled at my clothes in public. That's sexual harassment. I recorded it, and I'll be taking it to the student affairs office later. She looked at me in shock. You recorded it? You actually recorded me? Yes, I nodded calmly, holding up my phone. The red light was blinking. The entire scene had been captured. Low murmurs of discussion came from the corner of the classroom. That really is quite excessive. What kind of girl goes around pulling off other people's clothes? And it's not even the first time. I straightened my clothes, picked up my backpack, and calmly walked out of the classroom. Behind me, she urgently called out, Fang Qing, don't do anything reckless. I was just joking around. I didn't even look back. In this lifetime, I won't play along with you anymore. When I returned to the dormitory that night, her smiling face was still lingering in my mind. Don't be angry. What's wrong with us girls being a little intimate? I sat on the bed, my hands still tightly gripping the collar of my shirt. Even though I knew my clothes were already properly arranged, I couldn't bring myself to let go. My phone suddenly vibrated. It was a group message from my roommate, Lee Na, today's iconic moment, ha ha ha. Video, the whole process of her pulling Fang Qing's clothes, MP4, my hand trembled, and the video started playing automatically, from the side and rear angle. The entire scene was clearly captured, her pulling my collar from behind, me stiffly covering my chest, and the whole class bursting into laughter. The group chat instantly became lively. I'm dying of laughter, ha ha ha. Her bewildered expression is absolutely hilarious, haha. Still wearing pink in college. Someone tagged me, don't take it to heart. Beauty, we really think you're quite cute. I watched the bullet comments scrolling by one after another, my nails digging into my palms. Seeing that I hadn't replied, Li Na sent a voice message. Oh, Fang Qing, you're taking this too seriously. No one really meant any harm. She was just messing around. Didn't you say you were mature and didn't care about these things? I couldn't utter a single word. After that video was forwarded to the class group chat, it was then posted on the school's confession wall. A few minutes later, some unknown Big V account pinned a hot comment, hashtag she says harassment between girls doesn't count as sexual harassment, hashtag pink underwear girl classroom breakdown incident, hashtag I became a familiar face across the entire school, and the video was even edited with various strange voiceovers and filters, turning it into a meme. The comments were all, who's to blame for dressing provocatively? Does she really think she's a pure lotus? She just wants to be famous, right? She probably dressed like that on purpose. Disgusting. Stop fishing for sympathy. I sent a private message to the other account asking them to delete the video, and they replied with 2 words, LOL. I went to my counselor, who first said, are you sure she did it on purpose? Maybe you're being too sensitive. Just as I was about to argue, she frowned at me and said, the way you dressed for class today really wasn't appropriate. I suggest you delete those comments you clapped back at on social media. You're making a big deal out of this now, and it won't do you any good. I fought back the urge to tear up and asked, what about the video, should she delete it? She thought for a moment and said, I'll talk to her, but don't get worked up, she's a girl too, so she probably didn't mean any harm. That's how it all started in my previous life. Everyone kept telling me, don't be so sensitive, she just doesn't know her boundaries, you're both girls. After all, but she never pulled Li Na's clothes, nor did she ever pull Zhao Yu's. She only pulled mine, because I'm quiet, easy to bully, get good grades, never argue, never fight back, the easiest to bully. But this time, I won't stay silent anymore. I opened my phone, saved that video, and exported screenshots of the chat history. I slowly realized, she never lacked a sense of boundaries at all. She's testing my limits. Today is the first test. Next time, she'll destroy me with a smile. Is that the same outfit you wore yesterday? The counselor frowned, glanced at me, then looked down to type on her notebook. Yes, I replied softly. I had already washed that white shirt, but the look in her eyes made it seem as though I had worn it on purpose to provoke someone. Do you know how widely the video has spread? She said. Several teachers in the department have seen it and said it reflects poorly. I pressed my lips together and did not respond. And you should also consider the context. It was an open class that day, and when the teacher called on you to speak, you became emotionally agitated and resorted to physical violence. Do you think that kind of behavior is appropriate? I was taken aback and looked up, saying, I wasn't resorting to violence, I was just, you were acting on impulse. She interrupted me, her tone firm and resolute. No matter what the other person did, hitting someone in public is wrong. I tried to calm myself down. What about her pulling my clothes in front of everyone? The whole class was there, and it wasn't the first time she'd done this. She always says it's just a joke, but if I were a guy doing something like this, would the school still call it just a joke? Her brow twitched slightly, as if I had hit a nerve, but she quickly regained her composure. Of course, we don't support any form of physical harassment. It's just, she didn't mean any harm. Whether she has ill intentions is not for her to decide. I said in a low voice, it's for me to decide. She fell silent for a few seconds before calmly replying, the school is looking into the situation, but regarding this matter, I suggest you avoid escalating the conflict. You know, once something like this blows up, it won't do you any good either. I understood what she meant. It was exactly the same as in my previous life. Don't make things even harder to handle. Minor conflicts between girls don't need to escalate to the point of disciplinary action. You should be more tolerant. Don't let a small misunderstanding jeopardize your future. Every word was like a knife. She stood by the office window, Flipping through the incident handling record form, only the cause of incident column was filled in. Student Fang Qing's improper attire caused disruption to classroom order. I couldn't help but laugh. She tugged at my clothes, and the video spread all over the internet, with captions saying, I was dressed inappropriately. So the teacher means the fault lies in me wearing this outfit. She glanced up at me, not directly responding, but said gently, you're an outstanding student, and we all have high hopes for you. It's your junior year now, and the evaluation for graduate school recommendations is about to begin. Don't let a moment of emotional impulse leave a stain on your record. I finally understand. This isn't a misunderstanding, but rather, intentional neglect. She's not incapable of distinguishing right from wrong, she just doesn't want to deal with troublesome people. I walked out of the office. The sunlight was just right, yet I felt a chill down my back. On the campus path, some people stole glances at me, while others whispered among themselves. I lowered my head, opened my phone, and clicked on that video. The barrage of comments below had been automatically collapsed by the system, and the number of comments had skyrocketed to over 800. The most upvoted comment was, if you dressed more appropriately, no one would bother you. I stared at those words, my fingertips turning cold. At that moment, I realized, not all sexual harassment can be acknowledged, especially when you are a girl, and the perpetrator is also a girl. The next morning, as soon as I walked into the classroom, I sensed something was off. Many people glanced at me, whispered something, and then quickly looked away. She sat in the third row, her eyes red, looking as if she hadn't slept all night. The desk was piled with tissues, and the notebook beside her was open, with the first page reading, to Fang Qing, I'm sorry. I intended to ignore her and walk past to the last row, but she suddenly grabbed the hem of my clothes, her voice trembling. Fang Qing, I really didn't mean to. I shook off her hand without saying a word. Her eyes immediately welled up with tears. I really didn't know you'd mind so much. I thought we were good friends. People around us had already started whispering. She apologized. She looks so pitiful. Do you think maybe her classmate was dressed too provocatively in that video? I gritted my teeth and sat down in the back row, but my phone vibrated at that moment. The class group chat was flooded with messages. Xiaoyan really isn't a bad person. She's always been kind to everyone. She cried all night yesterday and hasn't even dared to eat today. Don't you think Fang Qing might have overreacted a bit? I clicked in and saw a screenshot of her roommate's social media post. Some people may seem aloof on the surface, but in reality, their temper is worse than anyone's. Are we country girls just meant to be humiliated? Say a few words and you have to record and report us. Below the picture, there was a photo of her crying with tears streaming down her face, and another of her holding a stack of drafts labeled, apology letter. A single stone stirred up 1,000 waves. Someone commented below, is a joke between girls really that serious? Others said, people nowadays are really untouchable. They report over the smallest things, making us all speak cautiously. Someone else reposted the confession wall post with the hashtag citygirls are too fragile. Looking at the comment, just saying a few words and they're already recording and reporting. My fingers couldn't stop trembling. She was acting. She was more skilled at it than anyone. This isn't the first time she's pulled at my clothes. She's just testing whether public opinion will forgive her one more time. And yet, some people actually believe her. In my past life, she cried like this too, saying she was just too eager to get close to me. Teachers, classmates, even my own mother said, she's already apologized. Why can't you forgive her? Forgive. The next time, she could openly push me down the stairs and tell others. She wasn't careful herself. I took a deep breath and saved the screenshot of the friend circle, the video she liked last night, and that group chat record. Aren't you good at crying? Then I'll make you cry for the whole school to see. At lunchtime, as soon as I walked into the cafeteria, a familiar voice came from behind. Hey, Fang Qing. It was Zhao Yu, the most timid person in the dorm. She gave me a cautious smile and said, Xiao Yan is really feeling quite regretful. I glanced at her indifferently and didn't say a word. She followed me, lowering her voice. She cried all night last night, didn't eat anything, and even fainted in the bathroom this morning. Do you want to go check on her? I stopped in my tracks, turned to look at her, and asked, before she fainted, did she delete the video she reposted? Zhao Yu was taken aback for a moment and didn't answer. Did she clarify the post she shared on her social media? I asked. Zhao Yu began to stammer. She said she didn't expect it to spread so quickly. I nodded and continued walking forward. Halfway there, Li Na also came over. Fang Qing, I know you're angry, but after all, we are roommates. And continuing like this isn't a solution. I looked at her. When she was making a scene, did she ever ask if I could accept it? She said it was just a joke. Lena frowned. You hit her on the spot then. Wasn't that enough to vent your anger? Now you still want to force her to drop out. Who's forcing whom? I retorted. She remained silent. At a nearby table, someone was staring at me and whispering, "That's her, the one with the clothes pulling incident." I heard she insisted on reporting it as sexual harassment, causing such a headache for the school. She's a girl too. Is it really that serious? Maybe she just wanted to stir up attention. I took out my meal card and turned to leave. My appetite was completely gone. I don't know why, but the world always seems to be harsher on those who show their pain. She cries, she lies down, she feigns weakness, and she gets sympathy for having already been punished. But I just stand there without saying a word, and everyone thinks I'm unrelenting. In my previous life, I let her off just like that. As a result, during my final interview, she unzipped my skirt and said to all the judges, "She usually likes to wear these seductive clothes." At that moment, I was ruined, and she turned around and said, "It wasn't intentional." Now she's pretending it was unintentional again, but this time, I was already prepared to make sure she wouldn't have the chance to claim it was unintentional. I opened my phone and organized all the voice calls, chat records, and screenshots of social media posts where people advised me to let it go, backing them up systematically. Then, I casually opened the recording. The conversation from that day when the counselor said my attire was inappropriate was still there. The next day, the disciplinary notice was posted on the left side of the department's bulletin board, with my familiar name printed at the very bottom line, misconduct, 1 warning. I stood before the notice, looking at my own name and the phrase, severely disrupted classroom order, feeling somewhat amused. The classroom where she publicly tugged at my clothes, causing the whole room to burst into laughter, had now become the place where I disrupted order. I got disciplined. She was fine. I was called in for a talk, while she continued attending classes, still sitting in the front row, wearing a clean, neat white sweater, head bowed as she took notes, looking every bit the model student. "Hey, this whole thing is over." She already apologized, so why is it still resulting in disciplinary action? What do you think? She recorded the counselor and posted it online, putting the school in a tough spot. But in the end, she's the one who got punished. Serves her right. Who told her to react so strongly? She's not exactly innocent herself. Filming videos, hitting people, forwarding them in group chats. Why isn't she being punished? I listened to the voices of people chatting outside from inside the toilet stall, my face pressed against the cold partition. A part of my heart had already gone numb. I couldn't even remember exactly which step I had taken wrong. Was it when I fought back with that slap? Was it the moment I turned on the recording, or was it when I didn't choose to let it go? When I returned to the dorm, Li Na and Zhao Yu were both there. They sat on the opposite bunk, quietly watching me set down my backpack. "Has the punishment been decided yet?" Li Na finally spoke up. I nodded. "Then you still want to keep reporting her?" Zhao Yu asked. "Of course," I replied without hesitation. "You've already been disciplined. Isn't that enough?" She couldn't hold back. She wasn't even given a demerit, and you nearly drove her to depression. "She's depressed," I sneered. "Then would it be fair if I jumped off a building?" Both of them fell silent. "Fang Qing, you've changed," Li Na said softly. "You weren't like this before." "What was I like before?" I stared at her. "Back then, I didn't dare make a sound even when my pants were pulled down, and the whole school made a joke out of me, and I still ate and chatted with you all. You liked my old self who never had a temper, and now you say I've changed just because I said one thing." They all fell silent. I knew they wouldn't take my side. They had already chosen sides. The lukewarm lake water rushed into my nostrils and throat, the suffocating sensation cutting into my brain like a knife. In the blankness of near death, I saw the light in the counselor's office. She said my attire was inappropriate and disruptive. I saw my classmates in the classroom holding up their phones and laughing. Some said I was seeking attention. Others said I deserved it. I saw her covering her mouth and laughing. "We're all girls. How can this be considered sexual harassment?" The final scene was of myself on the disciplinary document, white background, black text, like an epitaph on paper. Then I opened my eyes. In front of me was the projection screen in the lecture hall, and from the podium came the familiar voice of the teacher. "Now, calling attendance, Fang Qing." I was startled, sitting up abruptly, my chest heaving violently, cold sweat beading on my forehead. Everyone around was staring at me. I looked down at my clothes. It was the white shirt I hadn't had time to change out of, the pink strap of my undergarment clearly peeking out from beneath the collar. Instinctively, I reached to pull at the collar. That hand was slowly reaching out from behind me. Fang Qing, her voice drew out the syllables, then gave a light, quick tug at my back. Snap, I stood up and, with all my strength, slapped her backhanded. The entire lecture hall fell silent for 5 seconds. She covered her face, looking at me in horror. What are you doing? I said calmly. Pulling someone's clothes is sexual harassment. She froze, her lips trembling. Why are you reacting so strongly? I'm not a man. I raised my phone. It's recorded. The red recording dot blinked on and off. I had even captured the entire process of her reaching out. Are you crazy? Her voice rose sharply. Who records classes? You're insane. I looked at her, my voice dropping even lower. Didn't you say we're both girls, so it doesn't count as harassment? Then take off your clothes, and we'll all have a look. Her face fell on the spot, and the smiles of the few classmates around us froze. I stopped looking at her, straightened my clothes, calmly sat down, placed my phone back on the table, and aimed the camera at her. Go on, I said. Her tears, held back for a long time, finally didn't fall. She clearly didn't expect me to fight back directly. I never expected that I would publicly display the recording interface. She was restless the entire class, frequently turning back to look at me, the panic in her eyes more genuine than the grievance. As soon as the class ended, she rushed up to grab my arm. Fang Qing, can you delete what you recorded? I stepped back and sneered. What are you afraid of? Isn't it just playing around? You're crazy, she whispered. You're just messing with me. Didn't you laugh that day too? I retorted. She froze. I laughed because I was so flustered I didn't know what to do. You're laughing because you think you've successfully humiliated me. She was about to say something more, but I raised my phone and said coldly, take one more step toward me, and I'll start a live stream right now. She took 2 steps back in fright, her expression as if she had swallowed a fly. A crowd had already gathered at the classroom door. Someone took out their phone and started filming. Others whispered in low voices. Are they really filming this? Can a girl even report another girl for something like this? Of course you can. I turned my head and answered the person directly. Look up the civil code. Sexual harassment doesn't discriminate by gender, and it's not excused as a joke or testing the waters. Just because it's a girl doesn't mean you can touch someone without permission, and saying, don't be so sensitive, doesn't let you off the hook. The person choked, her face turned deathly pale, her lips trembling. You just want to ruin me. I laughed. I ruin you? Are you saying, I've been merciful enough by not letting you die? She wanted to retort, but couldn't utter a single word. I slowly put down my phone and turned to leave. She didn't chase after me. I knew she wouldn't dare to act this time. I didn't wait for her to delete the video. That night, I posted it myself. In the video, she reached out to pull my clothes. I slapped her backhand, and held up my phone to show the screen recording. Every second was captured clearly. My caption had only one sentence. I'm a girl. If another girl pulls open my collar, does that count as sexual harassment? I didn't bring up any topics, didn't tag anything, and didn't even open the comments section, yet it still went viral. Several campus bloggers with large followings reposted the video on Weibo, Bilibili, and Zaya Hongshu. The hot comments exploded almost overnight. If this doesn't count as harassment, then can girls slap each other in the face and call it just playing around? Sexual harassment doesn't discriminate by gender, especially in educational settings. Who gave her the nerve? Her comment, we play like this in the countryside, really disgusted me. Just because she's not a man, does that mean she can do whatever she wants? Her photos were dug up, along with the apology letter she had previously reposted on her social media feed. Netizens were even faster than me, following the trail to find her comments in other girls' comment sections. She has such a great figure, showing a little skin won't kill her. In our rural area, lifting skirts isn't a big deal. City folks are just fragile. What's wrong with girls kissing and hugging each other? A few screenshots were pieced together, and netizens immediately hammered her in the comments section. Typical perpetrator plus victim statement plus objectifying others. How many people have been ruined by the phrase, it's fine between girls? The next morning, hashtag she said sexual harassment doesn't count between girls hashtag trended at number 17 on Weibo's hot search. Before noon, I received a call from my academic advisor. Did you post the video? Her tone was unusually serious. Yes, I said. Do you know this incident has already affected the school's image? The school administration is demanding that we handle it as soon as possible. Handle what? I asked calmly. Handle me posting the video, or handle her pulling my clothes? There was silence on the Other end of the line for a few seconds, then her tone softened. This has gotten too big, and it's not good for you either. Right now, many people online are criticizing her, and many are attacking the school, saying we have double standards. We need to clarify things as soon as possible. Then go ahead and clarify it, I said with a smile. Just say that the school didn't deal with the perpetrator but instead punished the victim. That would make it perfectly clear. Fang Qing, she raised her voice. Being so aggressive like this won't do anyone any good, I sneered. It's certainly not good for her, and it's not good for the school either, but for me, it's great. She hung up the phone. That afternoon, the school's official Weibo account posted a statement. An investigation into the matter is currently underway. The school places great importance on conflicts among students and calls for the rational expression of emotions to avoid further escalation. The comments below exploded. What do you mean by conflicts? This is a crime. Don't twist the facts. Until she faces disciplinary action, who gave you the right to call for rationality? It's not that you don't understand sexual harassment, you just think it can be ignored when it's between girls. And just as the comments were heating up, I received an anonymous email. There is only one line. Thank you. I've also had my clothes pulled by her. Then, 1 letter, 2 letters, 5 letters. From different majors, different schools, and even from neighboring campuses. The next afternoon, as soon as I stepped out of the library, I was stopped at the door by my academic advisor. You delete the video, she whispered. I didn't stop walking. No. Do you still want to keep your graduate recommendation? Her voice was extremely low, but her gaze was sharp. I stopped and stared at her. It's not me who doesn't want the recommendation, it's you. Her expression changed. What do you mean? I handed her my phone and played the recording. If a boy did this to a girl, how would the school handle it? You should be more understanding. Don't ruin your future over a small misunderstanding. She's a girl, so there's no issue of sexual harassment. These words were spoken by her own mouth. Are you recording me? Her voice suddenly rose sharply. This is an infringement. You made those statements in a public setting, so there's no basis for privacy rights, I replied calmly. Besides, the recording isn't even the most damaging part. I clicked open another folder. Inside were video recording files, screenshot of the disciplinary notice, her previous response to other female students' comments using "This is how we play in the countryside," anonymous emails and written testimonies from multiple female students, the collected Article 1010 of the Civil Code, Article 37 of the Regulations on the Administration of Students in Higher Education Institutions. I even prepared a complaint letter, a report letter, screenshots of the real name, reporting process, and a draft email to the Education Department's petition office. She glanced at it, and her face instantly turned pale. If you handle it, I won't post it, I said. If you try to cover it up again, I'll make sure this matter reaches the petition portals of all major media outlets. She opened her mouth but couldn't speak. At that moment, I received a private message invitation from the school radio station. Hello, we are student reporters from the S University Broadcasting Station. We would like to conduct a themed interview on the hashtag controversy over sexual harassment among female students hashtag. Would you be willing to participate? We can guarantee that the audio editing rights belong to your side. I replied with 2 words, sure. Seeing me put away my phone, her expression grew more complicated than ever before. Fang Qing, you've won this time. But do you really think this is a victory worth celebrating so publicly? I stared at her, my voice calm. This isn't a celebration, it's a reckoning. It's about seeking justice for myself, and for all those who didn't dare to speak up. She didn't speak again. Back at the dorm, I reorganized and archived all the materials, then uploaded them to the email's scheduled sending system. If my phone was confiscated, my account was blocked, or someone threatened me to delete everything, this email would automatically be sent in 24 hours. That night, the radio station aired my interview. I did not show my face, only using a voice changer to narrate the entire incident from start to finish. The interview title was, When Gender Becomes a Disclaimer, a Victimized Girl's Real Name Accusation. In just 2 hours, the comments section exceeded 10,000, not a single curse word, not a single accusation, just stating the facts. Yet it's even more shocking. I used to think that girls bullying girls isn't a big deal, but now I realize I might have been an accomplice back then. She's right, it's not just boys who can sexually harass, girls can too, and they're more likely to get away with it. I sat on my dorm bed, watching the comments scroll by rapidly, when a private message notification popped up on my phone. I'm also a girl from S University. During freshman military training, she lifted up my tank top, and I never dared to speak up. Thank you. What she did to you, she also did to me in my first year of high school. She even tore my performance costume for the arts festival and later said it was poor quality clothing. I've found the surveillance screenshot from that time. If it can help you, please contact me. These private messages came pouring in like a breached dam, one after another. She wasn't an isolated case, she was a repeat offender, and these voices had previously been silenced, suppressed, and covered up. It wasn't that no one was harmed, it was that no one dared to speak out, until now. I contacted several female students and compiled their experiences. I posted them on the campus Student Rights Appeal platform, along with evidence. The next day, the Student Rights Center website was overwhelmed by campus traffic. Even off-campus forums began buzzing with hot discussions. Campus version of Me Too. Multiple female students at S University report long-term, humiliating jokes, harassment by a female classmate. The person involved in the incident once received scholarships and was an outstanding student leader, now accused of being a bra yanker. Her photo was posted publicly, and her previous statement, "That's just how we do things in the countryside," became the greatest irony. But the most fatal blow wasn't any of that, it was the recording of her own words. "I just can't stand her, that holier-than-thou attitude of hers, dressing like that. Isn't she just asking to be exposed? I just wanted to see her reaction. If she really didn't like it, she would have resisted long ago. Isn't it just that she enjoys the attention from everyone?" While she was bragging about it in the dorm with another girl, her roommate secretly recorded the conversation. When that roommate messaged me privately, there was only one sentence: "She always laughs so gleefully when she pulls on others' clothes, but she never asks if they're afraid." I edited this audio clip into a video. The beginning shows me holding up my phone in the lecture hall that day. The ending is the recording of her words. Within 24 hours, this video surpassed 3 million views. The top comment read, "She finally admitted, it wasn't her first time." The day the decision to revoke the punishment was posted, the sunlight was brilliant. The school office issued an official document, not only withdrawing my warning for misconduct, but also including the review panel's conclusion. After investigation, it has been confirmed that the student in question did not violate any disciplinary rules in this incident. The relevant responsible parties were found to have clear subjective faults and have been dealt with separately, and the relevant responsible party, her, was publicly criticized, disqualified from all awards and honors, ordered to issue a public apology, and given a formal reprimand. Her apology was posted in the most prominent position on the school's homepage, right below the official announcements. It wasn't one of those pseudo-apologies like, "I just expressed myself inappropriately." Instead, it was a line-by-line admission. "I have repeatedly subjected Fong Qing to physical harassment under the guise of joking. I realize that, regardless of gender, this behavior essentially constitutes harassment and violation. I am willing to bear all the consequences for this." This apology letter was like a nail driven into the mouths of everyone who had ever said I was too sensitive. Those who had advised me to let it go before are now trying to add me back as a friend. Those who called me fragile and emotionally unstable sent private messages saying, "Actually, I always thought you were right." I didn't reply to any of them. I know they didn't have a sudden awakening, they just saw which way the wind was blowing, and this time, I no longer have to be the understanding victim. I was invited to the college assembly, not to reflect on my mistakes, but to speak. A representative of the school administration said on stage, "We should reflect on the fact that the system should not differentiate based on the gender of the perpetrator, nor should it use good relations to cover up boundary violations." She was sitting in the audience. She kept her head down, no longer the innocent, misunderstood party. I stood at the podium, holding my speech notes, but I didn't open them. "I am Fong Qing." I raised my head. I was once watched by the whole school, punished, and doubted because of a joke, but now I stand here because I recorded the conversation, because I am no longer silent, and because people have started to believe that girls can also hurt girls. I don't want to be a role model, I just want to be the one who is no longer sacrificed. Applause rose, not loud or dense, but sincere enough. Stepping out of the auditorium, Zhao Yu stood at the end of the corridor. "Fong Qing," she murmured, "I'm sorry, I really didn't know back then. Now I know," I said, "so don't ever wipe someone's blood and say, she meant no harm," again. She nodded, her eyes reddening. I didn't say anything more. I had won this battle, and I didn't need to forgive anyone. I walked down the steps, the sunlight falling on my face like washing away an old layer of skin. She is still at school. Disciplinary action does not mean expulsion, but she is no longer the poor, impoverished student, or the misunderstood roommate. She is someone deemed a perpetrator by the system, and I am the victim who was no longer sacrificed by the system. This time, I live openly and honestly. Before the new semester began, I received an invitation to join a group chat from my new roommate. The one who added me to the group was a girl I met in an elective class last semester. Enthusiastic, straightforward, and without any filters, the group chat is named "No Joking or Harassing in the Dormitory." I laughed and clicked, except, she was the one who left the group, not kicked out, nor did she offer any explanation. She just quietly left, like a passing breeze. I heard she applied to change her major and moved into another dormitory. No one ever mentioned her well-intentioned jokes, popularity, or just being a bit blunt. Again, she was no longer the main character in this storm. She became that one, and I, from the emotionally sensitive and always overreacting Fang Qing, became the one who insisted on speaking out and was heard in a public incident. Xiao Yu sent a message saying that the new semester's counselor used me as a boundary education case. You're a celebrity among the freshmen now, she teased. Even my brother knows about that sister who dared to report. I replied with a crying laughing emoji and didn't say anything more. There's no need to say anything more about this kind of thing. I changed to a new tablecloth, featuring a map of the ocean. I gave it a file name, to be continued, not to commemorate the past, but to remind myself. The moment I walked out, I wasn't finally safe, but beginning to be free. She was left in the past, and I will only move forward. After hearing the second story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. After being bound by my roommate's word spirit system, my roommate joked, "You're so beautiful, I'm so ugly, how about you give me your beauty?" After being complimented, I felt a bit happy. "Alright then, I'll give you my beauty," my roommate continued. "Your boyfriend is so handsome, it'd be great if he became mine." I smiled faintly. "If you like it, take it," my roommate persisted relentlessly. "Your family is so wealthy, it would be perfect if I could become a rich young lady like you." I found it odd but still nodded politely. "Alright then, I'll give you my identity as a rich young lady too." Little did I know, 3 months later, everything I had said came true. I became short and fat, while my roommate turned incredibly beautiful. My boyfriend also left me and fell into my roommate's arms. Finally, my family went bankrupt. My parents died in a car accident, and my roommate transformed into a wealthy woman, living in a mansion and driving luxury cars. In despair, I sensed something was wrong and confronted my roommate. She sneered mockingly, "Fool, daring to agree to anything. Have you ever heard of words becoming reality? What you promised me must come true." Hee. Upon learning the truth, I was driven to madness with rage, grabbing a knife to end both our lives, only to be overpowered by her and her boyfriend, then locked in the basement to starve to death. I was so angry I was reborn. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the moment my roommate asked for my beauty. This time, I can give away my boyfriend, my wounds, even my weight, but you'll never lay a finger on my beauty or wealth. Right now, my roommate Sarah's slightly tanned face wore a simple, unadorned smile. "Lisa, don't stand on ceremony with me. I'm from the countryside. I've been doing manual work since I was little. You look like a pampered young lady from a wealthy family. From now on, leave all the heavy and dirty work to me." With that, she ignored me and started making my bed. Watching her back, I felt a deep, seething hatred. In my previous life, it was just like this. Touched by her sincerity and finding it hard to decline her kindness, I didn't want to let her enthusiasm go to waste, so I agreed to let her help me make the bed. At the same time, I developed a strong liking for her. However, after she finished helping me, she asked me 2 questions in a row. She said she wanted my beauty, my status as a wealthy heiress. I thought Sarah was joking, so I casually told her she could have it all. Little did I know, every word I said to her would come true. From that day on, my tall, fair-skinned, and beautiful self began to grow fatter and darker with each passing day. I was utterly panicked and rushed to the hospital, but no cause could be found. Yet Sarah grew more beautiful day by day. I even saw a shadow of my former self in her face. Because I became ugly, my childhood sweetheart boyfriend began to despise me. By chance, I saw Sarah and immediately started showering her with attention. I couldn't take it anymore and told my boyfriend to go ahead and give himself to Sarah. Soon enough, they became an inseparable pair, a handsome guy and a beautiful girl. They looked like a match made in heaven, and I became a complete clown. I grew increasingly insecure, muddling through without understanding what was happening. Soon, the family business ran into trouble and went bankrupt at lightning speed. To make matters worse, my parents were killed in a car accident. Overwhelmed with agony, I recalled how Sarah had asked for my beauty, identity, and boyfriend. The more I thought about it, the more suspicious it seemed. I confronted Sarah and asked if she was behind this. By then, Sarah was already driving luxury cars and living in a villa. With a smug expression, she nodded in admission and mocked me mercilessly. "You fool, daring to agree to anything. Have you ever heard of words becoming reality? This world isn't as simple as you think. What you promised me must come true." Upon learning the truth, I was so furious that my lungs nearly exploded, and I grabbed a knife, ready to perish together with her. Unfortunately, my ex-boyfriend arrived just in time. Tall and strong, I was no match for him at all. "You're as ugly as an African black pig now. How dare you harm my precious Sarah? You must be tired of living." After that, the two of them locked me in the basement. I starved to death in a pitch-black environment. Fortunately, I was reborn. I suspect she has some kind of ability similar to verbal magic, so I must never agree to anything she asks. But I also understand one thing: as long as I don't agree to give her anything, I'll be safe. By this time, Sarah had already made my bed. She smiled brightly and said in a joking tone, "I really envy you city girls. You never had to do hard labor growing up, and you're so fair and pretty, not like me, dark and ugly. If only you could give me your beauty." I looked at her eager, excited eyes and let out a cold laugh. "Envy all you want, it won't help. Dream on if you think I'd give you my beauty." Sarah's smile froze instantly, her face filled with shock, looking like someone who got the wrong script. She was lucky. The other two roommates, who had remained silent until then, spoke up to help her out. Lucy, a cheerful girl, smiled and said to me, "Lisa." Sarah was obviously joking. "Don't take it to heart." The other roommate, Kathy, who was more aloof, added, "Lisa, someone just helped you out, and this is how you talk to them. That's not how you treat people." Sarah asked for your beauty, but even if you casually agreed, could you actually give it away? That really hits the nail on the head. If I agreed, I really could give it away. Clearly, my words gave these two a bad impression of me, but I couldn't care less. In my past life, after I became ugly, they joined Sarah in ostracizing and bullying me countless times. I have no reason to consider their feelings now. Sarah snapped out of it and forced a laugh. "Lisa, look at you, taking things so seriously. We country folks speak bluntly, but we were actually complimenting your beauty. But that being said, I'll help you with your work, and you can comfort me with words. Then we'll be even. Since you're so beautiful, why not just give me all your good looks?" "Okay, bitch." Still not giving up, still trying to manipulate me with words. Looking at her hypocritical face, a surge of hatred rose within me. Yet I flashed a big smile and blurted out under her expectant gaze, "No, ha ha ha." Instantly, Sarah's face turned completely dark. "But I can treat you to a meal as a thank you." Hearing this, Kathy and Lucy, who had been glaring at me, couldn't say anything more. "Thank you." Sarah looked disheveled and frustrated, but there was nothing she could do. Seeing this, I quickly smiled and said, "By the way, my boyfriend is here too. He's really handsome, and so are his friends. Maybe he can even introduce you to a boyfriend." As soon as the words fell, she nodded in pleasant surprise. "Okay, thank you." Seeing her eyes rolling around, I knew exactly what she was plotting. I sneered inwardly. Beauty and property can't be given away, but a boyfriend can. I hope you seize the opportunity. Of course, I believe Sarah won't miss it. I walked into the restaurant with Sarah. From a distance, I saw my boyfriend Carl waving at me. When he noticed me, his handsome face was filled with a charming smile. However, as soon as he spotted Sarah beside me, a clear look of disgust appeared between his brows. No way. At this time, Sarah was dressed in a tacky style, with an average appearance and dark skin. Men with high standards would hardly take a second look at her. When Sarah saw Carl, her eyes were filled with infatuation, acting like a lovesick fool, making him extremely uncomfortable. "Lisa, who is this? Didn't I say I wanted to have dinner alone with you? Why did you bring her along?" Carl's snobbery was written all over his face. I sneered inwardly. In my past life, why didn't I notice my boyfriend's true nature earlier? I was truly blinded by his appearance. In that previous life, after I agreed to give my beauty to Sarah, I grew uglier day by day. Back then, Carl openly despised me. Every time we walked together, he would stay far away, afraid that others might notice our relationship. Later, he accidentally saw Sarah, who had grown even more beautiful, and was instantly smitten. He started fawning over her, which infuriated me. At the time, Sarah smiled and said, "Your boyfriend is so handsome, why don't you just give him to me?" Furious, I retorted in frustration, "If you like him, take him." Soon enough, my words came true again. Carl unilaterally announced our breakup and immediately moved on with Sarah without missing a beat. So, as far as my boyfriend Carl was concerned, even if I hadn't agreed to Sarah's request to gift him, that jerk would have left me anyway. Not to mention, he turned out to be one of the main culprits who ultimately got me killed. So, this boyfriend has to be sent away. I looked at my boyfriend and said, "Sarah helped me with some work today, so I treated her to a meal. Sarah is really nice. You're not allowed to bully her." Carl had no choice but to put up with Sarah being the third wheel. The entire meal left Carl feeling extremely uncomfortable, because Sarah was giving him seductive looks the entire time. It made him nauseous and completely killed his appetite. He barely finished half his meal before making an excuse to flee in panic. To be honest, I didn't have much appetite either, because I noticed Sarah has body odor, and it's making me uncomfortable. "Wow, Lisa, your boyfriend is so handsome, just like that TV star. I wish I had such a good-looking boyfriend too," Sarah gushed, still staring dreamily at Carl's retreating figure. At the same time, her eyes kept darting toward me, as if waiting for my response. I curled my red lips and gave her exactly the answer she was hoping for. "He's just all show and no substance. I don't care about him. If you like him, I'll give him to you." At these words, Sarah got excited, her body trembling with emotion. She grabbed me and smiled meaningfully, saying, "Well, thank you so much then." I just smiled even more brightly and repeatedly said it was no trouble at all. The next day, early in the morning, the dormitory building was already buzzing with noise. "Wow, come quick, someone's confessing their love on the first day of school." Lucy called us out to take a look. My gaze was peculiar, and I had a guess in my heart. Sarah was acting extremely excited, as if she was about to welcome some highlight moment. She pulled me to the balcony in one go. "Lisa, let's go take a look." When I saw Carl holding a bouquet of flowers, a wave of fear washed over me. I understood that his confession wasn't meant for me. Can't help but marvel at how terrifying Sarah's verbal magic truly is. "Wow, Lisa, it's your boyfriend Carl, on the very first day of school. He's declaring you're taken to prevent other guys from pursuing you. He really loves you so much." Sarah's voice was loud, drawing everyone's attention, making Lucy and Kathy both glance at me with envy. Students from other dorms also turned to look our way. After all, Carl had an extremely attractive appearance, fair skin, long legs, handsome and charismatic. This type was still incredibly appealing to girls. Faced with everyone's gazes, I remained noncommittal and silent. I knew the real show was about to begin. The next moment, Carl looked in our direction and raised the bouquet of flowers high. "I love you, Sarah." Instantly, the entire girls' dormitory was in an uproar. "Wow, who is Sarah? She's so lucky to get confessed to on the very first day. I bet she must be a stunning beauty to deserve such a handsome guy." Of course, a handsome guy's taste definitely won't be bad. While others were discussing, only Lucy and Kathy from our dorm were dumbfounded. They stared at Sarah with looks of utter disbelief. They prided themselves on not being as good-looking as me, but they certainly didn't think they were worse than Sarah. "And this handsome guy is actually my boyfriend. Why is he suddenly chasing after Sarah? Has he gone blind or something?" They were completely dumbfounded. Only Sarah was flushed with excitement, looking at me with an apologetic face. "Lisa, I really don't know anything. Did your boyfriend get the name wrong? I only met him once yesterday. How could he just..." Looking at her acting all innocent and fake, I really wanted to slap her, but I managed to hold back. At this moment, Carl continued speaking. "Sarah, ever since I saw you yesterday, I couldn't sleep at all. My mind is completely filled with thoughts of you. I love you, Sarah. Please accept my pursuit. Come down and be my girlfriend. If you don't come, I won't leave." Lucy could no longer hold back, her gaze shifting back and forth between me and Sarah. "No way." Kathy was also dumbfounded and speechless. Sarah grabbed my hand, looking like she was about to cry from anxiety. "Lisa, I really don't know what happened. I'm sorry. I didn't expect him to fall in love with me at first sight either. You have to believe me, I had no interest in watching her performance," and said impatiently, "So, are you going or not?" Sarah gritted her teeth. "I'm sorry, but I still have to go. The truth is, I fell in love with Carl at first sight too." "Lisa, don't be too upset. Love really can't be forced." Unfortunately, to her disappointment, she couldn't find any trace of sadness on my face. I raised an eyebrow and smiled. "Then you'd better hurry. Don't keep your sweetheart waiting. My reaction made Sarah somewhat uncomfortable, but she was convinced I was just pretending. Lisa, take care. With that, she hurriedly ran out the door. Lucy and Kathy looked at me with strange expressions, hesitating to speak. I chuckled and said, never thought I'd be the one to have a change of heart, seeing how indifferent I was. They were left speechless and looked down at Carl. As if he were an idiot. Pretty girls are out, ugly girls are in. What, have guys' standards changed these days? They were genuinely curious. When everyone saw Sarah appear, the room fell silent. After seeing Carl kneel down to confess his love to Sarah, my mind went completely blank. In the end, watching the two of them embrace tightly, everyone felt a wave of indescribable emotions, like 10,000 alpacas galloping through their hearts, because Carl is a towering 1.8 meters tall, while Sarah barely reaches 1.5 meters. The visual contrast was absolutely staggering. 3 words, not harmonious. Suddenly, Carl let out a shout. Damn, Sarah, do you have body odor? I'm about to pass out. Under everyone's gaze, Sarah's face burned with embarrassment. I'll go to the hospital tomorrow to get it checked. Fine, who am I to refuse since I love you? Carl responded with a pained expression, his face twitching. The next second, ha ha ha, their conversation wasn't quiet, and the room erupted in uproarious laughter, when Lucy, with her big mouth, spread the news that I was Carl's ex-girlfriend. Carl's reputation was completely ruined, a girlfriend who's both wealthy and beautiful, yet he chooses to abandon her for Sarah, dark-skinned, unattractive, and with body odor. Everyone thinks he's out of his mind. At the same time, his fickle behavior solidifies his reputation as a scumbag, and no one wants anything to do with him. That night, Sarah didn't return home until dawn. When she finally came back, she was glowing with satisfaction. Lisa, Carl and I are in love. I feel like we're tied together by the red string of fate, destined to be a perfect match. Please don't take it to heart. He said he loves my simplicity, my diligence, and my resilience. What's more, he doesn't care about my looks or family background. I'm truly so happy. Of course, I'm curious about one thing. If I said I'd give your boyfriend back to you, would you be willing to trade your beauty for my diligent and simple qualities? Damn bitch, still up to no good, trying to play me again, being always wary of her. Of course I wouldn't fall for it. The moment I said, I agree, I'd immediately turn into an ugly woman that everyone detests. I took a step back, covering my nose. Hell no, I'd rather have the most beautiful face, lie in bed doing nothing while waiting to die, and stay single forever than become ugly. I'd rather die alone than lose my looks. Lucy burst into laughter, echoing my words. I'd choose beauty too. Who needs character anyway? Kathy didn't speak but nodded deeply in agreement. Sarah watched my movements, her anger visibly rising, and upon hearing the words from the 3 of us, her eyes turned crimson with urgency. What's the use of being pretty? Your boyfriend still chose me. She seemed to think of something and then smiled. Lisa, I know you must be heartbroken after losing your boyfriend, but there's no need to degrade yourself with such angry words. I know you're very wealthy. If you could use your fortune to win your boyfriend back, I'm sure you'd be willing, right? How could I have fallen into her verbal trap? I spat out. This young lady does indeed have money. I could take that money to a club and hire a few male models to have fun with. One's 100 times more handsome than Carl. Wouldn't that be much better? With those words, I left Sarah speechless, and she stormed out, slamming the door. From that day on, my life isn't as miserable as it was in my past life. Beauty, wealth, and my parents doting. I have them all. Everything is going perfectly smoothly. Sarah keeps trying to set traps for me from time to time, but I never fell for it, always retorting sharply and leaving her fuming, helpless. She could only temporarily shift her focus to Carl, sticking to him like glue every day, terrified that her handsome boyfriend might be snatched away. That day, as I returned from shopping, I was stopped right in my tracks. Looking closely, it was none other than Carl. His expression carried an indescribable struggle. Lisa, I think I'm bewitched. My mind is filled with Sarah's image. Every moment, it's all her. But deep down, I don't seem to like her at all. In fact, I even loathe her intensely. The one I've always loved is you. Lisa, can you help me? There must be something wrong with her. It's like she's a demon controlling me. It's too painful. By the end, his face twisted into something almost grotesque, brimming with a near hysterical agitation. I have to say, Carl's current state is exactly what I wanted, and it brings me immense satisfaction. He simply doesn't like Sarah's current appearance. If Sarah were to steal my looks, he'd probably be overjoyed. I caught a whiff of the strange scent on him, Sarah's scent, and instinctively took a step back, my eyes cold as knives. Stop talking nonsense here, I don't understand a word of it. You're Sarah's boyfriend now, so stay away from me. My actions and expression clearly deeply provoked Carl, his face flushed with shame and anger as he glared at me with hatred. Lisa, we've had over a decade of friendship, now that I'm in trouble and asking for your help, you're being so heartless. I must have misjudged you all along. I could only laugh bitterly. In my past life, he could even take my life without hesitation. Now he's talking to me about being heartless. How laughable. What are you all doing? A piercing scream rang out. Sarah rushed over like the wind, standing between Carl and me like a mother hen, protecting her chicks, eyeing me with wariness. Lisa, I never thought you'd be this kind of person. You're my roommate, and now you're trying to steal my boyfriend. Have you no shame? I scoffed coldly. Seems you've forgotten. This scumbag was originally my boyfriend. I didn't say a word when you stole him from me. You. Sarah was furious but had no words to retort. I proudly displayed the handful of luxury shopping bags in my hands, brimming with satisfaction. I just got back from shopping. When he blocked my way, saying he still loves me, Sarah gazed enviously at the luxury goods in my hands, her eyes filled with jealousy and resentment. Hearing Carl declare his love for me, she gritted her teeth in anger and turned to glare at him fiercely. Carl turned pale with fear, pointing at me. She's lying. You're the one I love most. She's not even fit to hold a candle to you. But you're really so ugly. Wah, giggle. His last sentence made me burst out laughing. Sarah, furious and humiliated, dragged Carl away by force. I watched the two figures walking away, once again realizing the terrifying power of Sarah's quasi-verbal magic. It could completely control a person's emotions. No matter how unwilling Carl was, he could only love her. In this contradiction, he struggled helplessly. As long as Sarah made herself beautiful, Carl would undoubtedly be devoted to her. Watching the two of them walk toward the distant grove, a thought crossed my mind, and I quietly followed them. What? You're saying you have a verbal spell system where if Lisa personally says she's giving something to you, it will come true. So, you mean Lisa once said she was giving her boyfriend to you, which is why I'm completely under your control, helplessly in love with you. Carl heard Sarah's explanation and said with some disbelief, hiding in the shadows. My pupils dilated as I finally learned the truth. I dared not make a sound and continued to listen. Over there, Sarah nodded, stroking Carl's face with infatuation. Yes, brother Carl, I love you so much. Please don't dislike me, okay? I'll work hard to cure my body odor, try to become more beautiful, and make myself worthy of you. Carl suppressed his disgust. Then hurry up already, Sarah quickly replied. I want to, but Lisa seems to have caught on. Every time I set a trap for her, she doesn't fall for it. I really don't know what to do now. Carl was exasperated. Do you have to fixate on Lisa? There are plenty of rich and attractive people at school. Just pick someone else. Sarah gave a bitter smile. On the first day of school, I bound the system to her. It can't be changed, otherwise I wouldn't have dragged it out this long. I couldn't help but sneer after hearing that. No wonder they kept targeting me alone. Exactly. If they could switch targets, they would have done so long ago. They wouldn't still be stuck with an ugly face like this. Upon learning the truth, Carl's hatred for me reached its peak. He resented me for sending him to Sarah, and every day was torment. Sarah's repulsiveness and the classmates' mockery made his life unbearable. Driven by hatred, Carl suddenly spoke up. If gentle methods don't work, why don't you try force? A glint flashed in Sarah's eyes. What do you mean? Capture her, force her to say it, make her give you her beauty, make her hand over her family background too. Would that work? Carl said with a vicious glint in his eyes. Sarah immediately grew excited, nodding eagerly. It would, as long as she says it herself. The system can strip her of everything and transfer it all to me. I want her beauty, I want her family fortune. Carl, do you have a way to help me? If we succeed, what's mine will be yours. Upon hearing this, Carl's breathing quickened, and then he broke into a wide grin, pulling Sarah into a tight embrace. Sarah, my dear, why didn't you mention such a good thing earlier? Do you know how wealthy Lisa's family is? Their fortune is at least $1 billion. Although we grew up together, our family backgrounds were worlds apart. Our fathers knew each other from a young age and were like brothers in hardship, but my father later achieved great success, while his father remained unsuccessful. My father is sentimental and keeps frequent contact with his family, so, you could say we were childhood friends by circumstance. Sarah was overjoyed. Carl, you have a solution. Carl's face twisted fiercely. It's simple. We kidnap Lisa and beat the truth out of her. You must become rich, you know how much my quality of life has declined since I got together with you. Sarah forced an awkward smile and clenched her fists. We will definitely succeed. Overcome by emotion, she grabbed Carl's head and kissed him, suppressing the pain in his heart. Carl responded with deep affection. What a disgusting pair of scumbags. In the past, I always thought giving Carl to Sarah would be torture for him, but now, looking at them, they're truly a match made in heaven, equally cunning, equally vicious. I left without batting an eye. They wanted to kidnap me, but I didn't care. At most, they were setting some trap for me to fall into, but it seemed there was something more interesting. Since Sarah has bound herself to me, aside from beauty and wealth, I can give other things too. Why not give it a try? I took out a small pair of scissors from my bag. Closing my eyes and gritting my teeth, I made a deep cut across my palm. Blood flowed out, the pain unbearable. Sarah, I want to give you my wound. The next second, from the small grove in the distance came Sarah's scream. Ah, it hurts, my hand, why is it bleeding? And the wound on my palm had already vanished. At that moment, I burst into laughter. Revenge is within reach. The next day, my mom was hit by a car. Carl appeared before me with an eerie urgency. I know it's coming. I pretended to frown. Then why aren't you hurrying home? What are you coming to find me for? Che, your family has a branch here, right? Borrow one and take turns driving back with me. I'm afraid I can't handle it alone. It's too late now, and I can't get a ticket for the high-speed train. I want to rush back overnight. Please, Lisa, help me. You know how much my mom likes you. I took out my phone. All right, then I'll ask my dad first and have him check on your mom. We can head back after that. It won't be too late. Carl immediately found an excuse and fled in panic. These two idiots can't even come up with a decent excuse. I don't want to play their game of being kidnapped by falling into their trap. In my past life, I had suffered enough. In this life, I refused to suffer even the slightest grievance. I contacted my family and arranged for 2 bodyguards to come and protect me in secret. With safety assured, I smiled wickedly. Now, this young lady will play with you properly. From this day onward, I no longer restrict my diet. Durian, hot pot, seafood, all kinds of exotic delicacies. I indulge in them all, eating however I please. Eat whatever you want, that feels so damn good. Stepped on the scale this morning, gained 2 pounds. I silently murmured, Sarah, I'm willing to give you the extra 2 pounds of flesh on my body. Instantly, the scale showed 2 pounds less. Meanwhile, the oblivious Sarah seemed to have gained some weight on her face. I wasn't satisfied, so I came up with a plan to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. I spent a fortune ordering a bunch of expensive takeout and quietly brought it back to the dorm. Boston lobster, wild yellow croaker, tuna sashimi. Wow, Lisa, you're really splurging, Lucy said, eyeing the lavish spread of food while swallowing hard. Kathy and Sarah were no exception, their eyes filled with anticipation. I clapped my hands. Come on, don't be shy, hurry up and eat. The 3 of them immediately rushed over, ready to dig in. Wait a minute, Sarah, I didn't call you. Sarah's face immediately darkened. Lisa, what do you mean by that? Lucy, unable to resist the sight of delicious food any longer, said, don't you know what you've done? Stealing someone else's boyfriend. Do you even have the nerve to eat? Kathy nodded in firm agreement. Sarah was so angry she couldn't speak, could only watch helplessly as the 3 of us devoured the food, while she drooled on the side. So delicious, so tasty, I've never eaten anything this good in my life. Lisa, thank you, Lucy said, clutching her stomach with a satisfied expression. Kathy was also enjoying the meal. Looking at me gratefully, I waved my hand. Tasty, right, we'll do it again tomorrow. Wow, that's great. Lucy and Kathy were overjoyed. Meanwhile, Sarah on the other side could only run away with a dark expression. No surprise, she went to Carl again to plot kidnapping me. However, as long as I don't take the bait and with the protection of bodyguards, they have no way to kidnap me. The following month, I ordered every delicious food around the school and took Lucy and Kathy to feast every day. The 2 of them visibly gained a lot of weight, and my figure remains unchanged. They seem to have noticed changes in their own figures. I laughed and said, if you're getting fat, you can stop eating. Your figure is what matters most. At first, the 2 of them managed to hold back, but upon seeing me eat until my mouth was dripping with oil, they couldn't resist any longer and rushed over to indulge themselves once again. 1 month later, Kathy and Lucy gained a full 20 to 30 pounds, becoming veritable chubby girls. Of course, the most bizarre case was Sarah. Despite not eating a single bite, her weight reached 160 pounds, her thighs were thicker than my waist. You should know, She's only about 5 feet tall, her eyes were squeezed into slits by fat, and she'd be panting and dripping with sweat after just a few steps every time she stood next to Carl. It would provoke roaring laughter, making Carl increasingly embarrassed, so much so that he wished he could strangle Sarah. But instead, he'd end up hugging her and whispering sweet nothings. Sarah, don't care about what others think, I love you so much, woo-woo. The two of them became the talk of the school once again. Finally, Lisa, am I this fat because of you? Sarah came to find me. I put on an innocent face and sneered. What does your weight have to do with me? You must have been sneaking food in secret. If you ask me, you should just control your own mouth. Sarah looked at me with suspicion but couldn't say anything. After all, she couldn't just blurt out her suspicion that I might have discovered the system. How come you don't gain weight no matter what you eat? I was born with good genes. You can't envy your way into that. At this point, Kathy and Lucy switched sides, standing with Sarah as they glared at me with resentment. They had both been dumped by their boyfriends for being too overweight. Only then did I realize it was my trap. Lucy, Lisa, you're truly sinister. Kathy, Lisa, you deserve to die horribly. Me, oh wow, still complaining after getting the advantage. That's right, this is my revenge on these two. After how they excluded and bullied me in my past life, making them gain a few extra pounds is fair enough. Interestingly, the two who were determined to lose weight didn't succeed. Instead, they drifted further and further down the path of getting fatter, until by graduation they were still the fat losers everyone talked about. 1 month later, Sarah, now weighing over 200 pounds, knelt before me with her flabby body, sobbing uncontrollably, tears and snot streaming down her face. Lisa, I was wrong, please let me go, stop transferring your weight to me, woo-woo. If this goes on, I'll die. I looked at the human-shaped mountain of flesh before me without a shred of pity and laughed. What did you do wrong? Sarah wanted to kowtow, but she couldn't bend her waist no matter how hard she tried. The truth was already painfully obvious. If she still couldn't guess that I discovered the system, then she'd be truly stupid. I was wrong to bind you with the verbal spell system, wrong to covet your beauty, your family background, and your boyfriend. I'll give Carl back to you, okay? Just let me go. I'm in so much pain. Looking down at her with disdain, I sneered, what a disgusting African swine. As for trash like Carl, you can keep him for yourself. After hurling those words, I turned and walked away without another glance. Sarah ended up being hospitalized because of me, under the system's control. Carl contributed both money and effort, providing round-the-clock care. Within just a few days, news came that Sarah had dropped out of school, and Carl, who deeply loved her, withdrew as well, making people admire his loyalty and devotion. After Sarah's successful surgery, she lost a significant amount of weight. She kept begging me to stop eating. This time, I agreed to her request, because if she died now, it wouldn't be fun anymore. Carl followed Sarah back to her rural hometown and became her personal male nanny. He even went as far as breaking ties with his family for Sarah's sake, leaving my parents speechless and sighing whenever they called. During the day, Carl had to work in the fields while also taking care of Sarah, who was so overweight she could barely walk, making his life miserable. Sarah simply couldn't lose weight, because I would occasionally contribute to her weight gain. The first holiday, Carl appeared at my doorstep. His face was weathered, covered in wrinkles. Gone was the charm of the once fair-skinned youth. Please, eat more, get fatter, then transfer all your weight to Sarah at once. Just eat her to death, and I'll finally be free, I said with utter seriousness. You bastard, she's your beloved, how could you say such things? Are you some kind of beast? Then, I had the bodyguards throw him out, and so, Carl and Sarah stayed together, muddling through 10 years in a daze. Sarah couldn't take it anymore and took her own life first. Carl laughed maniacally, shouting that he was finally free, but the next moment, uncontrollably, he picked up a knife, yelling, Sarah, I love you, I'm coming to be with you, and plunged it into his own heart. Turns out, the love the system forced upon him was called, till death do us part. After hearing the stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.